Hey, good morning, everybody. Hope all of you guys are doing well wherever you guys may be here on this Labor Day. Happy Labor Day, everybody. Hope all of you guys have your barbecue all set up, your hot dogs, hamburgers, prime rib, corn on the cob, wherever you guys are barbecuing. Hopefully, you guys have it all set up. And I hope all of you guys have a phenomenal Labor Day. Labor Day is typically the mark of the end of summer. And so enjoy the quote unquote last day of the summer. Welcome into a very special edition of Waking Up on the 6th. Normally we don't do these type of morning shows, but since I'm free right now, I'm at work, but I'm free. I decided, you know what? There's a lot of stuff going on in sports. Why not talk about it? So that's why we're doing this show. If you guys like what you guys are seeing, go ahead and like our stuff on YouTube and Facebook and all the various social media platforms. We're on everywhere. So you guys go ahead and you guys can check us out wherever you guys are on social media. Um, I want to get into this is just going to be a short program, but I do want to give my takeaways from week one of the college football season. Football is officially back, folks. It's great to see football back. It's a great time of the year. Football, we waited all off season long for it. And now it's finally back. And I mean, college football, we had a phenomenal week one, capped off by a thrilling USC LSU game that lived up to the hype and even more. And then starting Thursday night, we got the NFL coming back. I mean, I'm so excited for the NFL to come back. We had me and my guys had our fantasy football league draft just yesterday. I got Brock Purdy in both of my leagues. I got Garrett Wilson in one of them. I got Devontae Adams. I got, George Kittle. I got a lot of great players. It's going to be a fun time. But typically when you have your fantasy football league draft, that typically also just it starts to sink in that football is officially back. And so Thursday night, we got the Chiefs, the Ravens. It's going to be a great game. Make sure you guys tune in. We're going to be doing our NFL preview special, I think, on Wednesday night with my guys, Loro, Antonio, Ben Cruz, and others. Make sure you guys tune in for that. But, yeah, football is officially back. It's great to have Pigskin back. Let's break down the first week of the college football season because there was a lot of takeaways from it. This is why we love football. Football, you get a week to basically digest and delve into what happened the previous week. There's a lot of overreactions, obviously. It's a long season, but, week one was like a little preview of what should be one of the best seasons in college football history. And I have a lot of takeaways from week one. Let's start off with the new rules, right? And the new stuff that you see. I think that this is going to be very interesting. Obviously, you got the new playoff format, 12-team playoff. You got bye weeks now. It's going to be kind of like a mini March Madness type of tournament. And you're going to see a lot more teams being in the race. A lot of the lower schools are going to be in the race as well, which should be fun. It's going to be definitely interesting to see how that unfolds. Also, I thought what really was interesting is now college football is kind of transitioning to being like the NFL. I mean, you got the 2-minute warning now in college football. They don't technically call it the 2-minute warning. They call it the 2-minute timeout, but you still got that in college football now. So you got basically an additional timeout, which is going to change a lot of the strategies. And also now with the 2-minute timeout, you have that. And plus you also have the clock stopping every time the team gets first down. So you get additional stoppage, which will help if you're either trailing or you're trying to go and get a game-winning drive together late in the game. I think another thing that was really interesting was the rule about how if, let's say, you're an opposing team's defensive line, right? And, I know a lot of teams have been doing a lot of shifting recently on the defensive line. The offensive line has to stay put. The defensive line, as long as they don't pass the line of scrimmage, they can move and do a lot of shifting. But you're seeing that called a lot more now as false start. I mean, not false starts, as delay of games, them interrupting and trying to, get the opposing team to jump. You saw a lot of that in week one. And I thought that was very interesting that they're trying to cut that out. They're trying to cut that out and not have that ruin the game. I thought that was really, really interesting. But yeah, I mean, we had a lot of great games, a lot of phenomenal results, a lot of results that are going to have implications towards the end of the season. But besides the new rules, a lot of the new changes, here are some of my takeaways from week one of the college football season. My biggest takeaway of week one of the college football season is the U is back. Yeah, that's right. The U is officially back. That's right. I'm declaring it after week one that the U is back. It's all about the U in the state of Florida. Miami, oh my God, they look tremendous in week one. I mean, last year, the thing with Miami is they were 7-5, but here's the thing. They easily could have been a 9-4 team, or they could have been a 9-3 ball club, right? Miami lost a couple games that they should have won. I mean, that Georgia Tech game was absolutely inexcusable. It was an inexplicable loss. It was just terrible. You should have won that game. But the thing with Miami is they lacked a quarterback. They had the playmakers. They had the offensive line. They had the defensive line. They were a good, sound football team. They lacked a dynamic quarterback. Well, guess what? Mario Cristobal went into the transfer portal and got Cam Ward, who was a stud in Washington State. And now you look at what he did with the Hurricanes in game one. I mean, he looked in sync. He looked in rhythm. And it's very rare for that to happen in week one. Like, it takes a lot of time to get the chemistry going and stuff like that. But Cam Ward looked like he played in Miami for like the last 3-4 years. I mean, he looked like a natural. He looked in sync. He looked dominant with the Canes. He was getting the ball out to the playmakers. He was doing crazy stuff like delivering the ball in weird arm angles. I mean, it was crazy and fun to watch. The Canes, they got a dynamic quarterback. He's also very good on the run. He's a very great pocket passer as well. They got weapons on both the outside and also the running game. The running backs are absolutely lethal. The offensive line dominated. The defensive line dominated. Yes, I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, but Florida freaking sucks. Guess what? I'll say that. This is what I'll say to that. Florida is not the best team in the country. I get it. But still, it's an SEC opponent. Still, you go into the swamp. You went into one of the craziest environments in all of college football to play. And not only did you go in there and win, you won, and you won handedly. You went into Gainesville and into the swamp, and you kicked the Gators' ass. That's what you did. That was a crazy message, a phenomenal message by Mario Cristobal and the Miami Hurricanes saying, we're back. We're back. We're a legit contender. And now when you look at the Miami Hurricanes, right, they have a really easy schedule going forward. I think they play Florida State late in the year. They play Clemson. But guess what? Clemson and Florida State, they don't scare you. I mean, Florida State got dominated in the trenches by freaking Georgia Tech. And Georgia Tech is not known as a physical football team. Clemson got whooped by Georgia. And I get it was Clemson. Get it was Georgia. But guess what? Like, when they played Georgia last time, they lost 10-3. Their offense didn't show up, but the defense held their own. But this time they got thoroughly dominated. And same issues. Offense sucks. Cade Klubnik sucks. The defense can only hold for so long, then it breaks, and then bam. And I think Miami, they can score at will against Clemson. I think that they can dominate Florida State because they have the better offensive line and defensive line. And remember, winning at the line of scrimmage is very, very important in winning football games. And Miami is dominant at the line of scrimmage. They're not a finesse team. They are a physical, dominant football team at the line of scrimmage and at the point of attack. And I think that bodes well for the Hurricanes. So I think when you look at the ACC, right, the landscape of it, I just don't see a team right now that can stop Miami. They got the playmakers. They're dominant at the line of scrimmage. Defensively, they're very, very good. The secondary is very dominant as well. And they finally have the quarterback. So as long as Mario Cristobal's head doesn't get in the way, then I think the Canes are going to win the ACC. I think they're going to make it to the college football playoffs. And I think they are a legitimate contender for a national title. That's how good I think the Miami Hurricanes can be with Cam Ward and Mario Cristobal. Number 2, Billy Napier is cooked at Florida. I mean, that was an absolute disgraceful loss by the Florida Gators. That was embarrassment. Billy Napier, I am surprised he hasn't been fired yet. I mean, he should start packing. He should start getting boxes ready, because you might as well start packing up your office, because he's not going to be the coach at Florida next season. I'll be shocked if he somehow, some way saves his job. Look at the Gators. They already had a very tough schedule. Miami was a game where, you were picked to lose, but you were picked to lose by only a couple points. I mean, it was supposed to be a close game. It was supposed to be what USC and LSU was. But not only did you lose, you got your ass whooped in your own home turf. You got your butt handed to you by a Miami team that went 7-5 last year. They put up 600 yards of total offense. They weren't the best offensive team last year. They put up 600 yards of total offense. They thoroughly dominated you both offensively and defensively, and you didn't have any answers. The offense of Florida looked like a team that was a high school team playing against a freaking college team. That's how overmatched they were. Graham Mertz, I mean, I don't get this obsession with Graham Mertz. He has sucked since his days at Wisconsin. I don't understand why Billy Napier went out and got him. And the defense, I mean, the defense was supposed to be one of the strong suits of the Florida Gators. Well, guess what? They got freaking beat by Miami. You're supposed to be more dominant. You're supposed to be more physical. And guess what? You got your ass handed to you and just basically dominated thoroughly by the Miami Hurricanes in the line of scrimmage. And I think that is what was very alarming about it. And now, not only did you lose that game, but in the coming weeks, you got to play Texas A&M, you got to play Tennessee, you got to play LSU, you got to play Ole Miss, you got to play Georgia, and you got to play Florida State. I mean, if you're giving up 600 yards of total offense to Miami of all teams, you're giving up 41 points to Miami of all teams. How are you going to fare against those other 6 opponents? I mean, the Gators have went 5-7. I think they went 4-8 last year. I think the Gators are going to only win 3 games this season. And, the defense, I was horrified by it. The offense, even worse. I just think that Billy Napier, he's cooked. And I think that Billy Napier will not survive until – I don't think Billy Napier is going to survive to Halloween. I think he's going to be fired at the start of October. I think that he's one of the coaches on the hottest seats. And that performance was just disgraceful on Saturday afternoon, getting run out of their own building by the Miami Hurricanes. So I think for the Gators, I think it's time to start anew. I think that you look at that loss literally reverberated throughout the entire nation. I mean, I live in California, right? I live about, 2,000 miles from Gainesville, Florida. You can smell the stench of the crappiness in the swamp in Gainesville all the way here in Fremont, California. That's how bad that loss was for the Gators. Billy Napier should have never been hired at Florida. They chose Billy Napier, a promising coach with upside, over a experienced coach in Brian Kelly and also Lincoln Riley. It made no sense whatsoever. Like, why are you doing this? You're Florida of all teams. You've got to get the best in Florida. You're like one of the biggest brands in all of college football. You're one of the biggest brands in all of sports, and you go out and hire a guy just because he has potential. And not only do you hire him, you give him a 6-year contract when he's never coached in the Power 5. Like, you've got to be kidding me, man. Scott Strickland, their athletic director, he also needs to go. Like, I get, Dan Mullen, he did not recruit, but guess what? Dan Mullen produced results. I mean, he went to a bunch of SEC championship games. He had a lot of success. He won big games for you, and you fired him and hired Billy Napier, who had never had success, never coached in the Power 5, coached at Louisiana freaking Lafayette. And yes, he went to conference championships with them, but that's freaking Louisiana Lafayette. And that's not the SEC and Florida. What did you expect? I think Florida, they need to rip the Band-Aid off. They got to fire Billy Napier. I would be shocked if Billy Napier makes it to Halloween as the head coach of the Florida Gators. I think he's cooked there, and I think that it's time to start anew at Florida, and they need a big name. They need a big name. Like, go get Urban Meyer. I don't care. Go get Urban Meyer. Go get Dabo. Maybe Dabo's available. I mean, the Clemson looks like they're going downhill. We'll talk about them maybe on another show, but Dan Lanning, like, you're Florida. Go get the best. Like, no more of this potential. We're gonna try to go get this young up and comer. No more of that crap, man. Go get the best. You're Florida. So the Gators, they're cooked. The other takeaway is Hawaii proved they are legitimate college football playoff contenders. And you're going to call me crazy as hell. But the reason why I'm saying that is because the Rainbow Warriors had the toughest game on their calendar against UCLA. I know UCLA is not the UCLA of old, but guess what? Hawaii was projected to lose that game and lose that game by double digits. And guess what? They were in it until the very end. They lost by 3 points, and they should have won that game. UCLA had a bunch of dirty hits in that game. Braden Shager got hurt. If Braden Shager does not get hurt and is limited by his mobility, I think Hawaii wins that game, and Hawaii wins that game by at least 10 points. I mean, Hawaii was thoroughly dominating UCLA. Hawaii had chances to put that game away, but Braden Shager was hurt. And I'm not trying to make excuses, but that's the fact. I mean, you need a quarterback, and Braden Shager is our star quarterback. And when your star quarterback is limited, you're not going to be able to do anything. It's like the Kansas City Chiefs. If Patrick Mahomes is hurt, like, you're not going to win. So, I was very impressed with Hawaii's performance. Timmy Chang's got the Rainbow Warriors on the right track. Hawaii, they have their path ahead of them still. You look at their schedule, right? There's really nobody that scares you. UCLA, I think, was our scariest opponent, and we lost by 3. We should have won that game. We play San Diego State. We play Boise, but that's at Honolulu. We play Fresno. Fresno's coach just quit because of health issues. They have an interim coach right now. Fresno, they got their butts kicked by a Michigan team who does not look all that good. Utah State, I mean, their coach got fired for sexual assault a couple weeks ago. Like, Hawaii is in control of their own playoff destiny right now. Like, win out and you get that automatic bid to the college football playoffs, because that's what the non-Power 5 best team gets. And I think that Hawaii could be that best team out of the non-Power 5. Because right now, when you look at the non-Power 5, who is there that really stands out from week 1? Like, there's really no one. So I think Hawaii definitely is in control. I know there's other teams definitely that are in control, but still, Rainbow Warriors win out, go 11-1, and you're making the college football playoffs as the best non-Power 5 team. And I think they will. So, and then I think the last takeaway that I have from this weekend of college football is, listen, I was wrong about USC. I thought USC was going to struggle. I thought USC was going to suck. But Miller Moss, he's got the Trojans as legit college football playoff national contenders. I mean, that defense is revamped. They look very, very good under new defensive coordinator Deonton Lynn. I was wrong. I was very impressed by the Trojans defense. I mean, they were getting after the quarterback. There weren't any bust in the secondary. The linebackers played very well. They stopped the run. I mean, I was very, very shocked. I thought that USC was going to be out physicaled by LSU. I thought the defense was going to get gashed, but none of that happened. And yes, they have a tougher schedule ahead of them, but that was a good start for USC. And I think that Ohio State, right now, a lot of people are saying, "Oh, they're the favorites in the Big Ten, and they are the undisputed favorites." Michigan is not going to be in the race. They looked really bad against Fresno. They look lackadaisical. I think the biggest threat to Ohio State right now is USC, because they have the offense and now they have the defense. And Lincoln Riley is a damn great play caller. He's a damn great head coach. And also Washington with Will Rogers. Will Rogers did not have his best game, and the Huskies, I know they played Weber State, but they dominated. The defense is great. They have a great running game with the running backs there. And then Will Rogers, he's going to get comfortable. And he's going to get more comfortable in that system. And when you look at Washington's schedule, there's really nobody that really scares you outside of maybe Michigan, and Michigan did not play well against Fresno State. That game is in Seattle. It's going to be a raucous crowd. The Huskies are going to be amped up for revenge. So I think the Huskies are definitely one of the biggest threats to the Buckeyes. And Will Howard, let me just tell you this about Will Howard. He did not impress me against Akron. I mean, he put up really good stats, but a lot of that came in garbage time. And like, if you actually look at his numbers in real time, not the garbage stats numbers, he only had one touchdown. Like, that's not impressive against an Akron team who you should have thrown at least 5 to 6 touchdowns in that game. He only had 3, and one was like in real competition time. So, I don't know what people see from him. Like, I really don't. I think that he's got a slow release. I think that he's indecisive. I think that, he's not really confident about himself. I just think that for Ohio State, if you have him as your quarterback, he's not the overbear. He's not the guy that's like, wow, he puts you over the top. Like, I just don't see that from Will Howard at Ohio State. And then I know I said I had one last takeaway, and that was that. But one last one is John Alcorn, calm all the way down about your Texas Longhorns. You played against Colorado State. You were supposed to whoop Colorado State. Okay, Colorado State, they suck. Come on, bro, they freaking suck. So acting like beating Colorado State was like the best thing in the world. Come on, bro. Like, if you had beaten Colorado State by less than 20 points, I would have been unimpressed by it. I mean, you did your job. Okay, great. Let's see how you fare against the SEC opponents this year. We'll see. I think Texas is going to honestly end up as a 3-4 loss team because I don't think they have the physicality for the SEC, but we'll see. But it's going to be a great year, great start to the season. Football is officially back, man. And I can't wait for the NFL this upcoming weekend. It's going to be fun. Can't wait for more college football this weekend. But guys, it's been a great show. Thanks for waking up with me here on the 6th. And we will see you back on here for another Waking Up on the 6th episode. We'll try to do a morning show, maybe every week just to recap college football and recap the NFL, just give us some takeaways. But guys, it's been a great show. Thanks for waking up on the 6th. Appreciate y'all. Have a great rest of your Labor Day. And stay safe, stay healthy, eat a lot of great food, and enjoy the last day of summer. Have a great day, everybody.